18 months after US-based Hindenburg Research released its damning report on Adani Group, calling it the largest con in corporate history, the short seller is back on the Indian shores with a new target. And this time, it is the SEBI chairperson, Madhabi Puri Buch. Hindenburg has alleged that Buch and her husband, Dhaval Buch, held stakes in the same Bermuda and Mauritius funds used by Vinod Adani. They cited the whistleblower documents and said that while Buch held the position of a whole-time member of the SEBI, she emailed through her private account to redeem the units in the fund. Other allegations, in fact, include potential conflict of interest with the Blackstone. During Buch's tenure at SEBI, her husband, Dhaval Buch, has been appointed as a senior advisor to the Blackstone, a major investor in the real estate investment trusts. Here are some of the crucial excerpts, in fact, that we are bringing to you from the report. What has this Hindenburg report said? 18 months since our Adani report, SEBI has shown a surprising lack of interest in Adani's alleged undisclosed web of Mauritius and offshore shell entities. Whistleblower documents show that Madhabi Buch, the current chairperson of SEBI, and her husband had stakes in both obscure offshore funds used in the Adani money siphoning scandal. If SEBI really wanted to find the offshore fund holders, perhaps the SEBI chairperson could have started by looking in the mirror. And we find it unsurprising that SEBI was reluctant to follow a trail that may have led to its own chairperson. Quite some very crucial allegations that's in fact been cited, that's been mentioned in this Hindenburg report. But we also have a response coming in from the SEBI chairperson. Buch, in response, has denied the allegations leveled by Hindenburg, calling it an attempt to assassinate her character. She has said, and I quote, that we would like to state that we strongly deny the baseless allegations and insinuations made in the report. The same are devoid of any truth. Our life and finances are an open book. All disclosures as required have already been furnished to SEBI over the years. We have no hesitation in disclosing any and all financial documents, including those that relate to the period when we were strictly private citizens, to any and every authority that may seek them. These are the latest developments in a story that has just, in fact, blown up and come to light last evening. With that, in fact, let's cut across to Suyash Maheshwari, who's joining us, our colleague on this broadcast. Suyash, a very good morning to you. Very firstly, just to simplify this for our audiences out there, help us understand these allegations that have been cited by the Hindenburg report and how this in fact goes back to the first report that was in fact published by them 18 months ago against the Adani Group.
Good morning, Shreya. So a lot has happened in the past 30 hours. I mean, Hindenburg in its characteristic sensational style tweeted out, something big soon coming for India. And, that got every one of us wondering who could it be? Will it be a follow-on attack on Adani, or could it be, another big conglomerate that falls in this line of fire? I think no one was under the impression that Hindenburg had its scope on Madhabi Puri Buch, the chairperson of Indian stock market regulator SEBI. And I mean, while it's not a 106-page bombshell that the short seller had dropped on Adani back in January of last year, they have made some serious allegations against the SEBI chair. Now, the biggest is, of course, Madhabi Puri Buch was invested in an offshore fund linked to the alleged of offshore shell companies operated by the brother of Gautam Adani, Mr. Vinod Adani. And according to the previous report that Hindenburg published on Adani, this particular network was used for stock market manipulation. Now, Buch and her husband, Mr. Dhaval Buch, had first invested in this particular fund under question back in 2015. And for some context, this was long before Madhabi Puri Buch was associated with SEBI. But Hindenburg's report, which cites, by the way, whistleblower whistleblower documents. So you've got to question the veracity of these documents. Claims that right before she was appointed at SEBI back in 2017, her husband reportedly took steps to move their investments out of their joint holding to solely in his name. And this report also alleges that even after she became the SEBI chief, Madhabi Puri Buch was still involved in these offshore investment. It claims that, and it cites whistleblower documents again, that she used private email, her personal Gmail account, to communicate with the wealth management firm that was handling this fund. And she, which suggests particularly that she was either actively managing or at least aware of these particular investments. Now, if this particular allegation comes to light and it is true, this is problematic for two reasons. Once, as Hindenburg puts it, and I quote, despite the existence of thousand mainstream reputable onshore Indian mutual fund products, an industry she now is responsible for regulating, documents show SEBI chairperson Madhabi Buch and her husband had stakes in multi-layered offshore fund structures with minuscule assets traversing known high-risk jurisdictions, overseen by a company with reported ties to the Wirecard scandal in the same entity run by Adani director and significantly used by Vinod Adani in the alleged Adani cash siphoning scandal. So lots of big words. Let's just break it down. Essentially, what Hindenburg over here is trying to say that Madhabi Puri Buch, who has voiced concerns about rise in speculative investments, rise in retail participation in particularly risky assets like FNO, herself, instead of investing in locally regulated mutual funds, is investing in a multi-layered opaque structured fund which is based in a tax haven in a high risk jurisdiction like Mauritius or Bermuda for that matter. And this particular fund is also overseen by a fund manager that is embroiled with another controversy, Wirecard scandal that happened in Germany, and this is IAFL India Infoline. So basically, you're investing in an offshore fund. You're investing with a particular entity that is already embroiled in controversy, and allegations also said that this particular fund was using money, and Vinod Adani was operating this particular fund to manipulate stock prices. So this essentially is what Hindenburg is alleging. Second is that Hindenburg, this pretty much sets aside this 15 months of investigation, or undoes the 15 months of investigation SEBI had put through, because Hindenburg is essentially saying that SEBI has failed to find any market violations in its investigation, because if they would have dug deeper, they would have uncovered Madhabi Buch's association, which could have been a major conflict of interest. Remember, Supreme Court in its January judgment had declined to order a CBI or a SIT, which is Special Investigation Team, probe on the grounds that SEBI was conducting and I quote, comprehensive investigation that inspires confidence, unquote. So that pretty much, undoes whatever investigation that SEBI was able to do. And the other allegation that has come to light is that this particular conflict of interest with Blackstone. So basically, what has happened is Madhabi Buch over the last 4 5 years apparently has been advocating participation in REITs, which is Real Estate Investment Trust. She has been saying that the market for REITs will grow as much as India's GDP. So it will be 1 to 1 India's GDP, and called it even her favorite, investment asset at various media outlets. And interestingly, her husband, Mr. Dhaval Buch, who very interestingly, again, prior to joining Blackstone, had no experience in capital markets. He was working as a procurement officer with Unilever. He was appointed in Blackstone in 2019 as a senior advisor. And Blackstone, incidentally, is a major investor in the REITs, landscape in India. So if REITs go up, Blackstone benefits, and that is the employer of Madhabi Puri Buch's husband. But she has refuted these claims. She has strongly denied the allegations that are leveled against her by the Hindenburg Group. She also said that it is an attempt for character assassination. So we'll see. It's just a brief response. There are about 23 hours left for the
Right.
stock market to open. We are expecting a detailed response from the SEBI chief.
Right, so Yash. In fact, my next question to you on this would be on the stock markets. We're just a few hours away. It's less than 24 hours as to when the markets are to open tomorrow. Friday, Nifty Sensex both closed at 11.04%. What are we expecting on Monday? Is there a bloodbath in Dalal Street that we are to see?
So actually, Shreya, that's a very interesting question. First of all, let me just point it out that we witnessed a major correction in the markets. Nifty and Sensex both fell by about 5% last week, and this was due to global headwinds. It was because of the unwinding of Japanese yen carry trade, as well as recessionary fears brewing in the US. So not local factors, but global factors that had led to a market correction. But again, I was talking to experts. They are of opinion that if SEBI chief does come out with a detailed, counter to what Hindenburg has alleged, and it is able to convince the market, we may not see a big correction in the market, particularly. But if that particular, rebuttal fails to satisfy what the market is looking for, if that rebuttal doesn't come at all, we could see a major correction in the market. But remember, the market has already corrected, and that was based on concerns of global headwinds as well as valuations that are currently overstretched. Interestingly, we could also see some impact playing out in Adani Group stocks. I was looking at the option data on Adani Enterprises and Adani
Right.
Ports. Both of them are suggesting that they could witness some selling pressure come tomorrow.
Right, so Yash, thank you for that detailed input and analysis as to what this Hindenburg report in fact brings to us and its impact on the market tomorrow, as to how things might turn out on Dalal Street on Monday morning.